Sorcery Part 1, Tactics. That's what we're going to explore in this vlog. And as always, no spoilers. But we're going to talk about some strategy and some action points, because the interesting thing about Sorcery, spanning the 4 books, and we're looking at book number 1 right now, is that while you can play each book solo or start at a certain point, the various items in the books carry over, and they do have interaction points in future books, part 2, 3, and 4. So book 1 is kind of really important, not only to set the framework of the story and give you some idea of the mechanics, because the books do progress and get a little bit more challenging as they go. It has the biggest impact with items, the items that you acquire. Now, where and how, I leave that up to you in your search for the crown of command. But within that framework, we want to grab as much as we can in book 1 to carry over to the future books. Kind of breaking down into 3 areas. The first is going to be weapons, giving us an enhancement. The second is going to be spell components. The interesting thing about the magic system in Sorcery, the interaction of the stars, is that some of the later spells, more potent spells, more interesting spells in terms of opportunity, require various components. You either have it or you don't have it to utilize it. So finding stuff and holding on to it, not even from a resource management perspective, but from just obtaining it, that is very, very important. So we want to kind of mine and farm and get everything we can in book 1. Now, there's 2 ways to do this, of course. Finding it as kind of quest rewards, stealing it, there's a couple of places for that. But for the most part, the primary acquisition is purchasing it with gold. The gold that we get at the start of the adventure. As we move along, we acquire gold, but that is the big finite resource in Sorcery. So the first tactic, it's going to seem a little bit counterintuitive. We play with food. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing of game books, whether you're playing the digital adaptation or the old school game books, kind of in that era, that the lone wolf sorcery era of game books, and fighting fantasy a little bit, but not as much. It was building off Dungeons and Dragons. It's building off this idea of an epic adventure. So food was an important point. If you don't have food to eat along the way for the quest, you're not going to be able to regenerate your health. You'll lose health or stamina, or you might even die, depending on the situation. So there's this mechanic built in, and it seems like, well, I want to acquire absolutely as much food as I can. So any opportunity, like at the beginning of the quest, if I can buy food before I leave the gates, buy 4, buy 5, buy as much as you can. If I go into a shop or a store, or I'm passing through a village and I can buy some food, buy some food. That kind of makes sense. But buying that food means I don't have gold for other objects. The hardcore full meta strategy is I don't buy any food. I want to spend all of my gold, especially that first chance you get, got to be careful in those spoilers, early on, to purchase some items at a particular merchant/store. I want to buy everything. I don't want to spend it on food, either before or after. So now we walk a fine line of, as we adventure, I'm going to start losing stamina. I'm losing stamina because I'm not eating. There are some opportunities to find food, which can negate that, but also utilizing my potions, and if we're playing digital, my spirit animal, spirit guide, spirit companion, to heal me. There's also opportunities to rest at various points, and 1 or 2 points to fully heal. So if I navigate things closely and carefully, I technically don't really need to buy any food. I can find, I can forage, I can heal. That's the meta. The first thing, being able to acquire as many items as you can, finding them, possibly stealing them, but also buying them. So hoarding and holding on to your gold is important. The second kind of gold trap is when you venture forth in book 1, the various places to stay, to sleep at an inn. That costs gold. Most of the time, there's an option to sleep outside. That could lead to some encounters that you have to navigate, maybe lose more stamina, but you can kind of stay off that beaten path and not attract attention to yourself further saving gold. Now, you do miss out on one or two story options and some info. Yes, any type of game book, digital or analog, it's a decision path. If I go here and do this, I miss out on that. But the focus is trying to focus and save our gold and spend it on items only. Go into, as best we can, in theory, going into book 2, City, packed with as much gear and items as we can. That's going to carry over book 2, book 3, book 4. That's the first primary tactica. Next, we're going to explore combat. And of course, we're going to explore magic. When do you use magic? When do you not use magic? When do we fight combat? When do we fight magic? When do we do both? When do we utilize magic to soften things up and then finish things off with your broadsword or your axe? More sorcery to come.